You confirmed that your office did open an investigation into Jack Smith in June 23 after an attorney from Jack's own office self-reported potential misconduct to you. Whoa! There's a good prosecutor on Jack's team? Man, I hope it wasn't Molly, because we've been pretty mean to her lately. Jack Smith is so nervous that the January 6th case is not entirely dismissed that he moved to dismiss it again. We've already seen the first motion to dismiss, and we saw Judge Chutkin's order granting the dismissal back on November 25th, where everything in the January 6th case was dismissed. And we were very happy about that on that day, but also very irritated about it, because what we're seeing is Jack Smith is running and hiding, trying to wrap this up like no harm, no foul. Don't be mad at me. And it's not so fast there, buddy boy. Congress is digging into this, saying that there was malicious prosecution, lies, and ethical misconduct that came out from Jack Smith that we're going to look at here in a second. But Jack has already gotten his dismissals, and he submitted a second motion to dismiss. Like, really wants it gone. And here's what he said. He said, Judge Chutkin, on November 25th, the court dismissed the operative superseding indictment without prejudice. We read through Chutkin's filing here. But remember, it was the superseding indictment. There were two indictments. Jack Smith's first indictment was bad, so he had to do it again after the Supreme Court scolded him and said, dum-dum, you can't charge immune conduct in your original indictment. So he's like, oh. So rather than having to dismiss the case, he just filed a superseding indictment, stripped out that immune conduct, and then said, this is good enough. I took out all the bad stuff. Then submitted the superseding indictment. So think of that as indictment number 2. So the motion to dismiss was about the second indictment. The clerk acted on the court order, and the docket now reflects the absence of any pending charges against Trump, and it does classify this case as closed, right? Nonetheless, because certain out-of-case circuit case law indicates that a superseding indictment does not void the original indictment, like in this case in the First Circuit, the government now supplements its dismissal motion to avoid any doubt that for all of the reasons set forth in our first motion to dismiss, the original indictment is also dismissed without prejudice. Okay, so just to be sure, it's gone. The government has conferred with Trump's defense, who does not object to the relief requested. Signed by Jack Smith, special counsel, so-called. Yeah, right. Let's put an asterisk right there, because he's not a real boy. He got booted out of Florida. So illegal special counsel Jack Smith signed this one again. He's like, please make sure it's dismissed, because we've been shredding like crazy here, Your Honor. Now, he's not out of the woods yet. House Judiciary, the GOP, sent a letter over to the Office of Professional Responsibility saying Jack Smith is a real bad boy, saying Chairman Jim Jordan demands that the DOJ produce the requested documents, and there are some juicy requests inside. You see this one coming from Jim Jordan, chairman out of Ohio. Committee on the Judiciary from the House of Representatives. The letter goes to Mr. Jeffrey Ragsdale. Now, he's a person at the Office of Professional Responsibility, the ethics body, if you believe it, of the Department of Justice there in Washington. Letter signed by Jim Jordan, our friend from Ohio. He writes the following. All right, Mr. Ragsdale, ethics person. The Committee on the Judiciary is conducting oversight of you people. To date, despite several requests that we've sent to you, you have refused to provide critical information about your operations that would meaningfully advance our work. The information that you have provided only reinforces our concerns that your office acts more to protect department prosecutors than to root out prosecutorial misconduct. Obviously, that's what they do. They investigate themselves. They find they did nothing wrong. Shocking. While we appreciate you confirming an open investigation into Jack Smith's prosecutors, Molly and Jay and Pierce, you're on notice. We are concerned that your refusal to take prompt investigative steps will allow these attorneys to evade internal accountability, and they're just going to leave the department and run away like they're doing. On May 6th, we wrote to you requesting documents related to investigations from your office that you were investigating Jack Smith and his team. There were allegations that they lied to a federal court, that they manipulated evidence seized by the FBI when they raided Trump's house, and that they improperly pressured a lawyer representing Walt Nauta, who was also indicted by Smith. Remember, Jay Bratt was talking to Walt Nauta's lawyer called Stanley Woodward and said, gosh, it'd be a real shame if you didn't get that promotion to that judgeship that you wanted in DC. Didn't think your client was going to be on Team Trump, but good to know know. Maybe I'll have to put in a word. On August 2nd, we wrote to you concerning serious allegations of professional misconduct regarding another person on Jack Smith's team, J.P. Cooney. According to a July 2024 report issued by the department's Office of Inspector General, Cooney, at the DOJ on Jack Smith's team, intentionally sought to impose an unprecedented and excessive prison sentence upon a criminal defendant, and then spread false conspiracy theories when his supervisors overruled his recommendation. Now, we requested that your office produce documents related to the Cooney investigation or the circumstances surrounding his shocking sentencing recommendation because he's so agitated, probably a MAGA Trumper who insulted his horrific looks. To date, OPR has failed to produce any documents responsive to our request. We're Congress, you're not giving us anything. So consequently, on September 12th, Jim Jordan says, in light of your failure to comply with the committee's request that we sent on May 6th and August 2nd, we requested that you, Ragsdale, make yourself available to the committee for a transcribed interview so we can get to the bottom of this. On October 8th, we wrote you again to reiterate our outstanding requests. Now, in response, the department from you offered to make you available to brief the committee. As an extraordinary accommodation to you, we accepted this offer. Now, during your November 19th briefing to us, our committee in Congress, you confirmed that your office did open an investigation into Jack Smith in June 23 after an attorney from Jack's own office self-reported potential misconduct to you. Whoa! There's a good prosecutor on Jack's team? Man, I hope it wasn't Molly because we've been pretty mean to her lately. But somebody said, yeah, we're corrupt scum. Good for them. You stated that per department policy, despite self-reporting a misconduct by Smith's own team, you said your office did not conduct an inquiry or an investigation into the allegations during the pendency of litigation in the cases brought by Jack's office because it could interfere with or jeopardize the prosecution. You see that? This is insane. So somebody on Jack's team says, hey, we're being corrupt and horrendous political hacks. He said, well, that's true, but you're in the middle of doing it. We'll investigate this once you're done being political, unethical, partisan hacks. Then we'll look into it. But we don't want to do anything to interfere your process of being corrupt. That's the Office of Professional Responsibility that says keep being unprofessional and we'll look into it later. As you explained it, the department's policy would keep bad actor attorneys in place to continue prosecutorial misconduct when they're breaking the law, which is acting as a co-conspirator to allow them to abuse their office to target innocent people who deserve the presumption of innocence and all the civil rights afforded to them. Because of the administrative difficulty and the resource constraints involved in switching attorneys. They don't want to replace Jack Smith. They can't. This excuse not only defies common sense, but it seems to violate the department's mission to ensure that justice is done in every case. This is huge, man. Who is this person? Jim Jordan knows. Who self-reported, Jim? After Smith told the media that he was, quote, expected to leave the department because he's running and hiding before Trump assumes office and that his team was, quote, making moves to wind this down, he's running. Smith then gave your office permission to investigate the allegations of the attorney misconduct. So he's like, okay, now you can investigate us. We're done. You stated that Smith only allowed the investigation to begin because it would now no longer interfere with his corrupt prosecution. They say this is absurd, that you, the department charged with upholding ethical conduct, would only examine allegations of prosecutorial misconduct after the subject of the allegations has approved the inquiry. I'll allow you to investigate me now. I've shredded all my files. Go ahead. This process does not inspire any confidence with your corrupt office that any of this is going to be independent or impartial. Now, during the briefing when you sat with us in Congress, you declined to give the committee a time frame in which your office would complete its investigation and ultimately release its report and findings. In addition, you wrongly stated that the committee could not receive a copy of your final report because of the Privacy Act. Well, as we explained during the briefing, the Privacy Act has an express exemption for disclosing material committee chairmen such that it is not a barrier to you cooperating with us. Your continued failure to cooperate with our oversight and apparent intention to hide information from us is more evidence that your office operates to protect the DOJ from any independent accountability. OPR needs to go too. Everybody there, Pam Bondi, hopefully cleans house. Pursuant to the rules of the House of Representatives, the committee is authorized to do this and investigate you. As stated, Congress has long considered legislative reforms for you, including proposals that would remove your exclusive authority to review allegations of ethical misconduct against DOJ lawyers. The department and your failures to give us any information demonstrate we need to know why you should exist in the first place. Now, the committee accepted your briefing as an accommodation to the department in an effort to advance our oversight. Unfortunately, though, there were several areas of inquiry about which you were unable to provide any information. And so consequently, the committee reiterated reiterates our requests. We sent the letters again. This letter serves as a formal request as well. Preserve all existing and future records and materials related to your investigation of Jack Smith and members of his team. Your office should construe this preservation notice as an instruction to take all reasonable steps. Don't shred a thing. Don't delete your phones. Don't smash them like with a cloth or hammer like Hillary. Nothing. Text messages, what the Chinese have now. Don't delete anything. As we have explained, the briefing did not alleviate any concerns about your inquiry into Jack Smith, and so get us these documents by December 18th or else. Your friend, Jim Jordan, chairman of the judiciary. So we'll see what OPR does. My guess is they're not going to turn over anything. They're going to turn over the bare minimum. It'll be redacted. They'll just wait until Trump comes in office and they'll see if they can kick this can down the road to avoid any further and future disclosures. But I hope, man, of all things, that these people in Congress stay on this, because this is a bombshell, actually. Somebody from Jack Smith's team reported their own misconduct. That's shocking. And they continued their prosecution and we never knew about it at all. The OPR allowed the corrupt prosecution to continue until Jack Smith authorized the investigation to begin. Surely, after all of the misconduct has been cleaned up, now Jack Smith is running away from this because he lost, and Congress, and I hope the new FBI, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, and the rest of them stay on this and get to the bottom of what happened, because these people engaged in a collusion conspiracy to deny Trump the presidency, and they abused their office to do that, and that's a crime. We'll be here continuing to cover it, my friends. Thanks for subscribing and joining as we do.